Erev Tov Chaverim, I'm Stephen Ben-Nun. You're watching Israeli News Live, and this evening, friends, a very shocking article coming out of Russia on TASS, Russian news agency here. This is actually August 24th when this appeared. Unfortunately, I did not catch this article earlier. I did see Tyler Durden with Zero Hedge writing about this today, kind of like myself. He didn't catch it either. But a Russian lawmaker has suggested deploying nuclear weapons in Syria to respond to the U.S. sanctions. Of course, the Russian lawmaker Vladimir Gutanev, and he is a senior lawmaker speaking at the Duma in Russia. He is a senior lawmaker there of economics. And he stated here in the article, he says, I believe that now Russia, let me blow this up for you guys because this is a major, major issue right here. He states here that I believe that now Russia has to draw its own red lines. The time has come to ponder variants of an asymmetrical response to the U.S., which are now being suggested by experts and are intended not only to offset their sanctions, but also to do some retaliatory damage, said Vladimir Gutanev, the first deputy head of the Economic Policy Committee of the State Duma, the lower chamber of the Russian parliament. Among such measures, the official named the deployment of Russian tactical nuclear weapons in other countries, such as Syria, the use of gold-linked cryptocurrencies for Russian arms exports, and suspension of the number of treaties with the United States, including a non-proliferation of missile technology. It is no secret that the serious pressure is being put on Russia and will only get worse. It is intended to deal a blow to the defense cooperation, including defense exports. But the mere fact that you have a Russian lawmaker talking about putting nukes in Syria could greatly escalate the situation. It's already escalated as it is, with John Bolton making his bold assertion there that if the Syrian government uses chemical weapons, the U.S. will retaliate. Clearly, when there is no evidence whatsoever to support the use of chemical weapons by the Syrian government. Doesn't mean the Syrian government is completely, has a whitewashed record, but the evidence is clearly in the other direction and actually points to connections with the United States, the CIA, the deep state. From Aaron Erdem, we find out with the Turkish government there as an MP member, the government arrested citizens of the Turkish government that transported the sarin gas in trucks right into the hand of ISIS, and it was actually done so in complete compliance with Prime Minister of Erdogan, who at the time was Prime Minister of the Turkish government. Now we are seeing the situation really begin to escalate, and even going even further than that. According to Sputnik's latest report here, Russia sends warships to Syrian shores as U.S. suspected of preparing a strike. That's a new one there, right there. The Russian Defense Ministry warned that militants in Idlib may be preparing to stage a chemical weapons attack against the local civilian population, thus create a pretext for a U.S. strike. So Russia now has dispatched 2 different ships into the region. As we mentioned yesterday, can't help but think of Jeremiah chapter 49. There can be no quietness on the sea. Just cannot be quieted down. The war that this could end up turning into. So the Russian Black Fleet are heading to the Mediterranean Sea in order to bolster Russia's military presence in the region. So it tells us that Russia does have defense vessels already in the region there, but now they are adding 2 more of those vessels there to that strike force. I guess I'm assuming the one pictured here is probably one of the ones that are actually headed to that region there. Cruise missiles, just like the U.S. has, are on board these vessels there. Very troubling situation, friends. It just does not look like this is going to go in a good way. And let's just hope, if it goes in a bad way, that it stays contained in the region. You're talking about 2 superpowers, and this could easily explode far beyond those borders. Anyway, listen, we are putting together a message for our Patreon channel there, and it is going to be entitled, actually the title I kind of got from my good friend Brother Mark. who, by the way, is him and his wife are hosting the meeting there in Lebanon, Tennessee. And that's at, let me just remind you guys, let's real quick go to the website for that. I think that's HBC Center. HBC Center. I'm doing it wrong already. I can see it. Okay, HBC Center, there it is, .com. You need to register for this event. And by the way, it is half booked already. And definitely, if you're coming, I did something wrong. I did PHC. Let's try it again. HPCcenter.com. Here we go. Hunters Point Celebration Center. And just scroll down on the front page here. It'll give you all the information about the event, the 14th and 15th of September. We've only got about 3 weeks until this particular meeting here. And again, it's half booked already, and that won't last long. You can also just contact them. It tells you right here, the contact page, how to register for the event. It's a 2-day event. Teaching on Yom Shabbat, or actually Shabbat evening, Erev Shabbat. I'll be doing a biblical teaching speaking about Yom Kippur. And then on Yom Shabbat itself, the day, Saturday itself, we'll be going into the different messages, me and my wife both speaking that day. Very in-depth information that no doubt will bless you and give you a better understanding for why we stand the way we do. So you definitely want to be there. You're not going to want to miss this conference. And we have pretty much decided we're going to try to centralize our conference meetings to where, like in the case of Lebanon, Tennessee here, that would be the only one we do in Tennessee, but hopefully pulling from northern Alabama, Kentucky, and those surrounding areas so that we don't have to try to hit every state. We will also, in December 2nd, we still have not been able to get the deposit made on the facility because we've been having trouble contacting the person, the event host, or the event, not the host, but the building itself in Swanee, Kansas, which is Kansas City. It's a suburb of Kansas City, Kansas. But that'll be December the 2nd. We're having a conference there as well. We are looking at trying to put one on in October, though, in North Carolina. Maybe in the mountains of North Carolina. It will not be that big of a conference there. So if you're looking at trying to be in that area there, we are looking at that for October. Still, I have not got the details as of yet, but I'll keep you updated on that. And if I'm able to, there's no guarantee as of yet, we still may do a little mini conference in Pensacola, Florida, in the panhandle of Pensacola there. I know some people have asked me about that. If so, it'll be around the 11th of September, just before we get up there to the Lebanon, Tennessee, Nashville area. So those of you that may live closer to that area, southern Alabama, Mississippi, northwest Florida, the Panhandle, Crestview area, places like that, Dothan, Alabama, etc. We'll try to put something down there for you guys there. So that will probably be a very small place. What I'll do is I'll put a tentative date maybe up on the website, and you guys can comment on IsraeliNewsLive.org. Let me know if you're able to be there, you're planning on coming. That way I can determine the size of the facility that we would need to use there. But we'll probably let that be known at the very last minute. That's for security purposes. So understand why we're doing that. We are dealing with security issues in that region as well. Anyway, I'm Steve Ben-Nun. Thank you for watching tonight. Don't forget to support the broadcast. Your support is tremendously needed and greatly appreciated as well. Thank you for that. And thank you for those of you that support our Patreon broadcast. That's also an alternative way to support the ministry if in the event you can't help us on IsraeliNewsLive.org. Shalom, shalom, and Erev Tov.